listen, ministers, why are you really ministering? I don't know what percentage it is. You say, oh, it's out of gratitude for what Jesus has done for me. Why do you burn out? Why are you so manic about how things go? Why, when the attendance is up, are you up? Why is the attendance down, you down? Because you're very self. Your justification is your ministry. I don't know to what degree it is, but to some degree it is. You know that. You know, the lay people next to you here at the conference are saying, are you really that bad? Yes. You know, being a Presbyterian, it's very hard for God to speak to me. And so, when I'm praying and I get these little impressions and things, that can't be God because I'm a Presbyterian. I don't care. But one day, I was reading Romans 1:16, and I was reading it in a translation that said, he who through faith is righteous shall live. And I suddenly got this voice that said, yes, and he who through preaching is righteous shall die every Sunday. And it probably was God, because I know my own soul is not capable of that kind of insight. And I know that to a great degree, I don't believe the gospel. I say principially, I believe I'm saved by faith, but existentially, I'm trying to save myself through my ministry to some degree. That's why and that's the default mode of all of our hearts. That's the reason why, in general, churches are filled with people who understand justification by faith intellectually, but they're as selfish, they're as insensitive, they're as scared as everybody else. See? Because you're being justified by power, by approval, or by how well your children are turning out, but not by Jesus. And what God will do, rightly so, is he will spend your entire life shaking down those pennies until they really drop. I mean, I live all my life practically in an apartment building, so we're always using Coke machines. My wife believes that the Coke machine is her image of ministry. Because when you put money in the Coke machine, there's this limbo time in which the money's in there, so it's not in your hands. It's got the money, but it's not producing the Coke. So it's got my money, but it's not producing the Coke. What's going on? And so what you do is you have to pound it, and then you hear it go down, and then out comes the Coke. And Kathy would say 90% of the Christians she knows are people in that middle, that middle state. The gospel has gone in, it's in, but the pennies haven't dropped. And nothing like real character change is coming out. And the people of the world see that. They see that you're just as scared. They see that you're just as you're justified by people's approval and what people think of you, or by success, or by the money you're making, or by how well your children are turning out, or by your ministry. They see that. But what God has got to do is he's got to pound you and pound you and pound you until the pennies start dropping.